So, what you're seeing on screen is indeed my VGC record entering Season 9. A perfect 6-0 record. Something I'm super proud of. But it also got me thinking, how did I come to this level? And how did I make it to the highest tier on the ladder without losing a single battle? And above all, how did my VGC teams from before compare to this latest team that did what none of the others did? Not only thrust me into Masterball rank, but did so in such an unstoppable manner. So, I'm going to take a step through time and show off my VGC teams, tell you what ranks they made it to, and explain what their overall game plan was and why they were successful or lacking. Mind you, these teams competed in multiple seasons and overall didn't change much, only minor changes like say one team member got swapped out for another who did a similar role, and these are essentially the final versions of each team leading into my hat team. I've saved each team as a rental team, so if you want to use them for whatever reason, casual, ranked, or just to experiment and understand what goes on in my brains, by all means, use them and tell me what you think of them. Mind you, they aren't all flawless / perfect, each has strengths, weaknesses, and you'll notice these pretty quickly if you use them. Don't blame me if you drop 5,000 rank using my team. I gave you warning. Got that? Our first team is going to be the team you currently see on screen. I used this team for roughly 2 to 3 seasons, from the first season of Ranked to midway through Season 3. Now, the meta back then was highly dependent on abilities like Intimidate and Misdirection abilities and moves, using the powers of Gastrodon, Togekiss, and Indeedee with Follow Me. Trick Room wasn't as powerful back then, even though there were powerful Pokemon like Hatterene in the meta. It was mostly about really fast Pokemon like Dragapult and using the power of your Dynamax to go highly aggressive. Many popular G-Max Pokemon weren't available back then like Lapras, and it was mostly dominated by Charizard, Pikachu, and of course Butterfree. It was also a battle of the Weather Wars, as for many seasons Tyranitar dominated the meta and was almost on every team alongside Excadrill as a partner. And even to this day, Excadrill Tyranitar teams are very popular on the ladder. This team was designed to counter multiple threats, while being as hyper-offensive as possible, using Braviary for speed power, Como for multi-threat potential using the Throat Spray Clinging Scales combo, Barraskewda to counter Gastrodons and Follow Me users to blow up Tyranitar, same with Duraludon to help counter other possible threats, and Togekiss for the power of the Crit Kiss in both Standard and Dynamax form. The weakness of this team is obvious: Trick Room. It cannot fight under those conditions, and my only defense in this was to blow up my opponent's Trick Room setter. The only other counter to it is my Centiskorch, who was on almost every team until recently, and he was called in for special battles or for his unique playstyle and damage output. It only got to Master Ball rank Season 3 and struggled to break out of Ultra Ball in Season 2. This team was used by me during the G-Max Lapras days, when Lapras's G-Max form was allowed on the ladder, and everyone used it. The team overall changed little outside my Braviary, who used Superpower instead of Close Combat, and used the Muscle Band while my Barraskewda took the Life Orb instead of the Choice Band. The two newest team members are my Corviknight, who is used to counter Lapras users with his G-Max Wind Rage and Weakness policy setup, and for the Ironheads to help his Body Press deal damage. Another surprise team member was my Salazzle, who made multiple appearances as thumbnails for videos. She surprised many a battler because of her unique strategy to fake out or taunt users while having high damage options like Sludge Bomb and Flamethrower. There's a reason I coined the phrase Razzle Dazzle my Salazzle. She won many a battle, and in this time it was more common to run against Trick Room, Ferrothorn, and Corviknight players, so her ability to deal damage and counter flinch Trick Room battlers was vital to my success. She got me into Masterball Season Rank 4. During Season 5 was about the time Incineroar and Primarina and Decidueye were allowed in, and instantly Incineroar shot to the high usage because it had access to Intimidate, Fake Out, as well as new tech in the Parting Shot, giving it an option to further reduce attack stats and now special attacks without triggering items like Weakness Policy and enabling it to run other options instead of U-Turn and Snarl. To counter this, as well as new G-Max arrivals, my team changed with the times, including the anti-meta of the time Primarina, a very popular Pokemon to Dynamax at this time, and started running Arcanine as my own Intimidator, and Dragapult to keep my physical powers available while minimizing risk of Intimidate. My Dragapult was banded and given a useful tech to give me options against anything outside of a narrow select Pokemon, such as Psychic Fangs to ensure I could always break through Aurora Veil because Lapras and G-Max was still highly popular, Crit Kiss returned, and Salazzle Centiskorch stayed on the field because they were still highly useful to the team. While it struggled to break out of Ultra Ball in Season 5, it did however break into Master Ball Season 6. This team was my first foray into the realm of Trick Room, and I brought a new team member, Liepard, to give me an advantage. With the useful copycat strat tech Liepard offers as well as fake tears, this team was very dangerous. My Meowstic on the team was there to help remove terrains and set up barriers while also offering fake out weather counters because the weather wars were still raging back then. And without rain, Tyranitar was still the king in this day and age. The team used the gimmick of ensuring Trick Room got up by having Hatterene sacrifice a turn of its G-Max form by protecting, but having the protect be the move Trick Room. Due to how Copycat works, it cannot copy a move like Max Guard, but instead uses the move it changes from to become Max Guard, in this case Trick Room, and thus priority Trick Room would be established. It's a high gamble, high reward strategy. If I don't do damage with my hat and get KOs, then the entire plan falls to pieces. Liepard offers the ability to deal more damage thanks to fake tears, enabling me to break through very tanky Pokemon like Lapras, even through an Aurora Veil. Liepard can also counter Trick Room, and even counter Trick Room moves, because of how Copycat works. During Seasons 7 and 8, this team managed to get me into Master Ball rank, but it wasn't until Season 9 where I achieved my team's current final form. My current team you see on screen uses the redirection abilities of Follow Me and Rage Powder, combined with the tanky and durability of Porygon 2 for a massively powerful team that brings the strength of my Hatterene and Primarina to bear against the opponent. To counter Intimidate uses my Milotic is on the case, and Volcarona helps me counter Pokemon like Rillaboom, whose mostly grass-type based physical attacks are not keen on taking on the Moth with Flame Body. This team went 6-0 and is almost entirely about speed control, from my Milotic's Icy Wind and Mud Shot to reduce speed, and in Dynamax form Max Strike with Weather Ball, provided no weather is active, slows my opponent even further. Max Strike from Porygon, who can be run as the Dynamax, is just as viable, and finally, if the occasion calls for it, my Primarina can also slow down my opponent with her own Icy Wind. If my opponent runs a Trick Room team, My team actually can counter it if they don't run Trick Room, as my Hatterene is often faster than other people's Hatterenes and other commonly used Trick Room Pokemon like Torkoal, due to her perfect IVs in speed despite having a quiet nature. If my opponent has nothing to outspeed me in Trick Room, I run Trick Room. If they have Trick Room users, I don't bother with it. With key swaps and proper timing, especially patience, my team can overpower and outmaneuver my opponent when I play it correctly. Hope you all enjoyed this stroll down memory lane, and I hope you all liked this video, and especially the teams I've created over the months in Sword and Shield. I'm honestly amazed how far I've come since my very early days in VGC. I changed from this hyper-offensive team based around speed power and counter-intimidate potential from Braviary to this Trick Room-oriented team all about speed control using the absolute dominating power of Hatterene. Until next time, kiddies, take care!